All right, here we go. Okay, so in the name of Allah, the Compassionate, the Merciful, I begin. My name is Abdul Wadud, aka Questman, your host, and currently with me we have our special guest, Joanne, my daughter. Mhm. So, um, I'd like to begin by saying Salam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shalom, Hotep, peace be with you. Nope, not with that hand. Put that down. You know better than that. Use this hand. Yeah, use that hand. Okay. As I was saying, Salam alaikum, Shalom, Hotep, peace be with you. And today we're going to have a hopefully a pretty motivational conversation. We have coming with us brother Remy and brother OC the Great. You know OC the Great from his YouTube channel, OC the Great TV, and also you know brother Remy, who has been a adamant supporter uh, for brother Ozone, aka Oprah Wallace's legal aid fundraising efforts. So they'll be coming on here uh, later, a little later, and we hope that that becomes a fruitful conversation. As you see, the title of this talk is Black Men Talk. Serious, intelligent conversations between black men. It's time we separate the men from the boys. And so, you know, we want to have a serious conversation, but a respectful conversation, a peaceful conversation. Um, I'll start by speaking of a few words to the right. Just some advice. The most important thing for you to do the moment you get up is to make sure your 2 feet you have is to make sure 2 feet you have lift up a person who is real and ready for whatever the day may bring. Finding the oldest skeletal remains means nothing. Finding wisdom and applying means everything. Have we reached a point where we are too good to be corrected when wrong, or at least for the sake of receiving sound advice? Why does sound advice offend us? It's not how many guns you have that make you superior. It's how well you use what you have, how effective your tactics be that makes the difference. Be like the sun who shines and produces its energy from itself, and in so doing draws within its orbit the divine stages of dimensional elevation. The eye of the noble scholar is much like the light of a star. You can still see its light long after the star itself has passed on. So, is the West, which includes the U.S., losing their influence, their grip on the hearts and minds of the people globally? You know, the U.S. has been known for a little while to be the global police. You understand? Basically, um, the impression upon everywhere in the world, and you find that often anything that is contrary to his interests becomes a target. You understand? For in some way or another. So if the hearts and minds and people are finally, um, manifesting openly the indifference toward Western influence, what does this entail in our time? You know, what happens when words fail the mouths of ignorant and arrogant people? They always want to resort to hostility. So I say this: beware those that have the mind to understand. There is no better benefit besides real unity. So, that said, I'd like to take a look at a few videos that I had come across concerning some of the issues that are going on today. Give me a second here, and I'll present that for you. Just some things to point out. Okay, let's take a look at this video right here. Mhm. I know you're gonna need some sound, so let's take.
No! Hey, you use your women? This is why your country because you use your women for this. You go, no, that way.
Estamos pasando súper mal, en la familia le manda plata a nosotros y nosotros no podemos comer, tenemos niños y sin pañales, mira. Ahora tengo que cruzar al lado mexicano con la plata mojada para poder ir a comprar algo para el niño. Y no tenemos nada ya, no podemos comer. Necesito ayuda con lo que está pasando con nosotros allá, porque tiene muchísimos niños, está llevando solamente los solteros y los niños que ha votado. Imagínate.
So let me talk about that for just a second before I carry on to the next video that I have. Now, there's a lot that I could say about this, and I know that this particular video is about uh, let's see, it was uploaded on the 20th, and recently I've heard that they've cleared, all the people that were under the bridge that they were inhabiting at the time. So the question that I'm having here, the concern that I'm having is our I see responses from everyone else. You understand? From politicians, you understand? Even the president of this establishment, I hear all kinds of responses, but I'm not hearing, or should I say, seeing the proper response that I would like to see from my own. Um, Let me say it this way: the hypocrisy of this land has created such a stench that it will take many years to remove. On one hand, we see the establishment openly welcoming refugees, of Afghanistan, for example. And this in itself is not an evil. You understand? Ideally, if you're going to help people, you help people wherever they may come from. Those that you're able to help, if you're able to help them. However, when you see hundreds and hundreds, thousands, if you would, of Haitians who could well benefit from the same courtesy, but instead receive the hand of rejection and are even treated as though slaves, chastised by the whips. The mind of the establishment is clearly exposed. Moreover, if ever there was a time to stand up in protest or in support of one's people, this is the time. Perhaps many of you among the so called black family have forgotten that historically the Haitians are literally one of our own. The only difference between their ancestors between the only difference being their ancestors were captured, those of them who were captured by a different people. I say those of them who were captured because not all of us so-called blacks were ever captured at all. There were a significant number of us who had already called this land home long before the hypocrite and wicked Christopher was ever born. But that is a topic for another time. Actually, that topic has been well discussed by our prominent late scholars of this area of study, and I'm talking about like Ivan Van Sertima and Runoko Rashidi. Check them out if you want to know more about the in-depth history of those who lived in this land long before you know anybody else of Europe ever came to this continent. Now, the point is, yeah, you can have. The point is that these are our own kin, literally our own people. You understand? If you can imagine having a brother, imagine you and a brother as a baby, right? You understand? You get separated from birth. Your blood brother in every sense of the way. You get separated from birth, and he gets raised by somebody speaking Spanish, and you get raised by somebody speaking English. Then you meet up one day, and the only reason why you oppose each other is because you don't recognize that, hey, this is actually your brother because he's speaking a different language. That's literally the case between us in the land called the United States today and the people of Haiti. These are literally our stock of kin. They literally came from many of the same locations that all of us that ended up in Georgia and Louisiana and the East Coast. They literally came from the same nations, but somehow, um, seeing them being literally oppressed and the camera's just ready for the situation. You got to think when you saw the slave drivers on their horseback swinging their whips around, beating these Haitians. You understand? Literally beating your own people, our own people. If that didn't like strike any kind of nerve, you understand? I mean, you'd have to ask yourself what's wrong with you. You understand? Peace and blessings, family. You have to ask yourself what's wrong. Why? How have we become so numb that I've actually seen other people um, from other ethnicities shout out more about this than our own. Keep in mind that this news report was published by Al Jazeera, which is a news broadcast based in Qatar. You understand? And yet here we now. Don't get me wrong. I've seen some of us speak about this, but where are the protests for this? Where are the banners? Where's the marching down the streets? You know, where's it for this? Or is there that type of a divide so deep within us that we can't even recognize our own people? We really need to dig back into to our story. You understand? We need to really dig back into our story because this right here, if anything, should have been a wake up call. Because there's a reason that they wanted to show this. Because keep in mind, while these horseback slave drivers were doing their whipping, there were cameras right there ready to catch the moment. When you've got cameras right there ready to catch the moment happening, that means the people who are taking in the views are doing this because they want to show this to someone, to some people. Who were they trying to show this to? Who was meant to see this? Who was meant to see these Haitians get mistreated and oppressed like this? Who's meant to be the actual viewers of this? I can guarantee you it wasn't any of the politicians. It wasn't anybody in the houses of the establishment. It's the very people who, you know, are are seemingly the most silent about it. The very people who are seemingly the most silent about it are the people who were meant to see this, the black family. Because look at the timing. Look at the timing when these people are being told that they have to go. Look at the timing. Isn't it uncanny the timing of all this? Like I said, if this didn't tear a hole in your heart, I don't know what to tell you, but it looks like you're on the wrong side of history. You understand? You're on the wrong side of history if just watching this. But that's why they showed it to us. That's why they wanted us to. They wanted us to see this. You got to think there were several camera people right there with the cameras angled just to make sure they could show these beatings, these lashings take place. They wanted us to see this. Here we are, and we have the nerve to stand up for ourselves finally after 400 years. Some of us have started to gradually stand up. You understand? Some of us have started to gradually say that we've had enough. Some of us are starting to have the nerve to even think about unity. And you don't think that they know about this? You don't think that they recognize that, hey, those people that we've enslaved and that we've occupied their land and that we've oppressed for the last 400 years, they're starting to wake up. And as we've always been one step ahead of them, we got to find a new strategy because they're starting to even catch on. They're starting to catch on to what we're doing. You understand? So we got to strike fear back in their hearts. You got to remember that was the reason why they had those horseback slave drivers and whatnot anyway. You know what I mean? The same badge that you can see to this day being worn and represented by by the local sheriff, for example. It's a little, altered just a little bit. You understand? Just a little bit, but it's the same concept. It's just been passed on to their descendants. You understand? Trading chains for handcuffs. Chains for handcuffs. So let's see if I can show you this other video. Here's this is going into Mali, which is a country in Africa. It's in the northern part of Africa. Um, it's near like Libya. If you look on a map, you can easily find it. It's very big. Um, in fact, genetically, I have some genetic um, ancestry that goes through there. In any case, let's take a look real quick, and let's go ahead and get this started here. Mhm. Okay, let's see. I gotta get the sound back on.
Go to Mali. Mali coup leader and now president Assimi Goïta has signed a deal to have 1,000 Russian mercenaries move to Mali, and this has triggered alarm in France. There were celebrations in Bamako as youth chanted, "If Wagner went to liberate Syria, if Wagner went to liberate Central African Republic, then we welcome Wagner to Bamako to liberate Mali." Remember, these Russian mercenaries from the Wagner group are the same ones that fought ISIS terrorists in Syria and drove them out. The same Wagner group brought peace to Central Africa and Libya. And now this is the group that France doesn't want to see in Mali. And it seems that France doesn't want peace and stability to come to Mali. And it seems to me like West Africa is beginning to wake up, and in particular the Francophone countries. Stories have been told and books have been written about how France imposed a colonial tax on these particular countries.
Hmm.
But it seems that soldiers in some of these West African countries have decided that enough is enough, after their countries have been stripped off of all mineral wealth by France for more than 100 years. That's when you begin to see this group of soldiers stepping forward to remove puppet president and governments that are controlled by France. And I don't blame these elite soldiers leading coup d'etats in Mali and Guinea. You see, most of them, like Colonel Mamadi in Guinea, have even served in the French army.
Okay, let's pause it there. So I showed that for a reason, and the primary reason is to show um, what I would say is a form of an awakening that we already know has been taking place in Africa in many of the countries. Um, there are views that I have about uh, what could be seen as taking abandoning the support or abandoning the pressure from one nation, one oppressive nation or one slave master, if you will, and trading that for another. Now, this is not to say that presently any what quote unquote Russian support would be, quote unquote a new slave master, but it makes me wonder at our own interdependence efforts. You understand? And standing up in the face of the oppressor, all the same, but at the same time finding resolve within our own. Because it always seems that we want to find our solutions or our protectors from you know one Western nation or an Eastern nation, and this I'm talking about the West, the U.S. versus Russia, or vice versa, and we keep alternating back and forth, back and forth. So I wonder at the fact that if the African countries that are being talked about, they mentioned many of the West, were more unified on all levels, militarily, economically. You understand? Would they stand or have enough strength to make the same opposition without beckoning or needing the aid of yet another uh, giant, or whatnot? Anyway, let me see something here because we do have. I have to make sure that our brothers who are going to be with us this evening are prepared to go live. So, okay, yes, indeed. Peace and blessings. OC the Great is here. Um, let's see. If you need any help signing into your Soul Journey of Life account, let me know now, and I'll walk you through the steps. Um, because that's where we're going to have our. That's where the live is going to be. Uh, the conference style live is going to be presented. Um, all right. Let me make sure. Because I just minimized that, didn't I? Yeah, I did. All right, family. Yeah, these things, it should bother us. But here's the thing, family. A lot of people react to media alone, and in many cases, much of the information that people have in today's times tends to be based upon the media's portrayal of things, of events. You understand? They respond to. I mean, this is how programmed many folks are. If the media doesn't say it, it didn't happen. You understand? As far as some people are concerned, if it wasn't shown on today's news, it never happened. And it's kind of like people depending on the eyesight, if you would, of media's camera. Wherever it looks, that's where they look. And it makes you programmed to respond that way. So that way you don't see alternatives or solutions or anything of that nature. Um, I'm going to pause for a minute, take a short break, and that way I could help our brothers get into the live chat. And I'll be right back.
Greetings, greetings, good bro. Yeah, did he make an account? My volume is really low. I don't know what is up with that. Well, on my phone, you sound low, but that happens sometimes. It's weird. I don't know.
Okay, family. So I'm back. I'm going to go ahead and we got brother Remy here with us. So let me go ahead and bring him in. If I can do this with care. Boom. There's Remy. And let me turn that on. Peace and blessings, Remy. Can you hear me?
Peace and blessings. I can hear you. It's low, but I can hear you.
All right. Let me. I think I got it up as loud as I can get it. Can I do it that way? Hmm?
It might just be my phone because I've had this issue before on streaming on YouTube where it
Hmm.
just kind of goes low.
Well, we're still waiting for OC to log on and get into the chat room here. Hopefully he
Okay.
doesn't have any difficulties. But for now, for those that may not know, this is Brother Remy that you see on the screen here with me. Let me put this that way. There we go. And you may not also know that uh, the brother by the name of Ozone, aka Otha Wallace, who is currently in incarcerated or behind bars, if you would, and looking for our support. For his legal assistance, because this is one of the brothers that has been, uh, basically on the front line of standing up for our rights and our standing up for the people basically. And as an outcome of that, need a link. Okay, I'm gonna send you the link in here. Ozone, oh not Ozone, but OC is asking for the link, so I'm gonna send him. I thought he had this already. Hold on one second, family. I gotta respond to the comment in the feed here. Okay. To OC, check your email. I sent you the website. I think you got an account on a Soul Journey of Life. But you just have to log in, and then on your screen you're going to see to the left where it says Village Circle, and you click Village Circle, and from there you click Village Meeting Tree, and then Join Meeting, just like that, just like that. And you'll see you'll be participating with us there. See what happens to our background. You see the background turn green? Hmm. Yeah. See right there we have a fancy background there, and over here we just have that green background. Hmm. Okay. So yeah, check your email. But anyway, as I was saying, Brother Remy has been on the front line of uh, encouraging and promoting us, promoting support for Brother Ozone's legal defense team. Um, you know, uh, he's established uh, the platform for donating, and so the people who have been adamant about seeing that Ozone is free and gets treated properly and with justice, um, have been donating and using Brother Remy's mediums to that end. And I understand that we're facing a very unique challenge, where you have opponents who have a variety of things to say, but all the same, yeah, you can put it right there. all the same, those with a mind of consciousness, those who with a heart for truth, you understand, know how to see the difference between, rhetoric, spitefulness, and sincerity and honesty and things of that nature. You understand? Because that's kind of what we're dealing with. I've often said that, when you stand up to do what's right, and when you stand up for a noble cause, you're going to get your opponents. You're going to get your opponents. You're going to get your opponents, and they're going to, if you say right, they're going to say left. If you say up, they're going to say down, like that. Give me a second here. So I'm hoping that he's able to log in. What are you doing? Yeah, leave that alone. I gotta fix that. All right. All right. Yeah. Okay. So while we're waiting for our brother OC to log in, I'm not sure if he's having some troubles or not, but hopefully he'll be able to get in. Um, I want to say, that um, being peaceful, and this is, I know there's some people who have this idea, this off idea about what it means to be about peace, what it means to be, about, a peaceful cause. But let me say this: being peaceful and striving to manifest peace in the community is not the same as being naive, passive, or weak in any way. What does it mean is that one does not seek to stir confusion over the possibility of reason. There is no wisdom whatsoever in hostile rhetoric that does nothing but ridicule and shame. An intellectual conversation is one that holds, you know, to the values of peace. It does not mean that all involved will agree. It does not mean that we ignore any wrongdoings that come about, nor does it mean to disregard the truth in favor of convenience or popular opinion. Right? Now, many may be expecting that I intend to discuss with these brothers, the ongoing drama that has been going on against them. I do not believe that it's necessary to, entertain such any longer. And if I do have anything to say, it would be to touch on for the sake of the conversation of at present. You understand? To build on, to build with. You understand? And not to edge on and continue on the drama. Um, you know, this is what I want to say. This is what will keep those who understand focused and not led astray by any misinformation and riffraff. We're not about the riffraff here. So I can tell you that if you're watching the live, anticipating some type of drama or riffraff, wrong channel. We don't have time for that. In addition, I have no intention of berating any opponents to these brothers, as each person has their right to their views. However, I do believe that any such views any of us might express must come with weight of proof to support any claims for or against a person. Simple rhetoric is not sufficient proof, in my opinion. And I'm no scholar, merely a student of the pursuit of knowledge. I am open to correction, which also requires validity and reason. Again, I believe enough time has been spent and wasted in vain debating, blaming, and shaming of these two brothers who have remained steadfast and resolved, and unfortunately, many amongst the people will find of them those easily led sway by views opposing the integrity of these brothers. The result has been counterproductive to the overall efforts, namely to raising funds on behalf of our brother Ozone, aka Otho Wallace, who is currently locked up, as I mentioned, and awaiting suitable legal representation while facing the death penalty after being accused of shooting a police officer. Today, we wish to focus on only not only continued efforts at raising funds for Ozone's legal assistance, but also to bring about an understanding within the community. There are many factors which are often overlooked. I find when communicating as we are by means of social media, the consequence being that many fail to realize there is only so much that can be reasonably communicated through public means, through this method and this way of talking and this way of bringing out information using these platforms, and is often, as mentioned, counterproductive and could cause more harm to the very people intended to be helped. I personally consider that this be the very thing we must take warning from, as an adversary of ours would certainly encourage any behavior or conversation which would further contradict support for ozone. While it can be said that some of us wish only to shed light on what they believe to be a discrepancy in the manner of another, or so they endeavor to quote unquote expose the perceived efforts of those they see the discrepancies in. They are in fact doing more harm than help, even if the points of accusations were with basis. How is this so? Again, we are dealing with the use of social media as a means by which many of us have made use for this communication. This is a public platform, which means it is open to any and all, be they friend or foe. There are those who mean well but do not understand well, and so they communicate without wisdom. There are those who mean ill and seek every opportunity to manifest their ill will at our expense. And there are many others who will hinder or benefit. There are so many layers to this and so many cautions. For the most part, much of what needs to be said should be said not on social media at all. Some things are just not everyone's business, and there are matters which increase the wound of the problem, potentially giving the opponents to this cause more ammo to cause more pressure and more division. The matter is very great and is certainly one that needs to be handled with care. So I'm hoping, that there are enough of us with enough sense to be able to understand how we use social media versus the real life um, problems that we suffer and that we have to deal with, just as if there weren't any social media platforms. We still have a real life going on. Brother Ozone still has a real life that he's got to live. You understand? And in many cases, you've got so many people on the commentary viewing this, and you don't really know essentially their nature, who they are, what they're really about. You understand? There's just a lot of factors at play, and so you can't think to get more from an individual speaker or personality on this platform than what they can offer, especially when it comes to matters that are detrimental to another person's life. I mean, this should be a no-brainer. There's only so much you can say here, and it's insane to me to see the type of questions, the type of interrogation, if you would, that we give each other on these live platforms. And not realizing the harm that such does to each of us. Not just those who are locked up, but even us now. There are people who take study out of this. You understand? There are people who take study out of what we are, doing through this method. Let me see what's going on here. As I see the screen. Okay. I still don't see OC. Great. So let me check something here. He might have responded to this. Nope. All right. Peace and blessings. I see Sister K Money in the live feed. So, that's all I'm trying to express is that, this isn't entertainment. You understand? This isn't some kind of let's somebody's talking about ozone this week, so let's zoom in and see if there's any drama talked about, or somebody's talking about this person or that person. So let's see let's see what how we can be entertained for the night. I'm bored. Let's go to YouTube and log on and watch some type of you know drama go down. Um, let's see here. We're still waiting for brother Ozone, so I'm just gonna put this, or not Ozone, but brother OC the Great, and hopefully I don't see any other comments from the brother. Doing it from my phone. Oh yeah, you're gonna have trouble with your phone. Um, Let me say this: if you're using the app to try to do this, brother OC, close the app and use your browser. That's going to be your best bet because the app has a hard time doing this operation right here. So I'd suggest. What did you? Oh, here, do that. You gotta sit properly. All right. Hmm? See, you gotta sit properly. Properly. Yeah. So go to your browser, and then if you're going to use your phone, I recommend using your laptop. But if you're going to use your phone, go to your browser and then go to souljourneyoflife.org, and from there follow all the steps that we presented. hmm All right, and you shouldn't have too much trouble that way. And let me know if you do. All right, here. So let's see here, brother Remy. While we're waiting for OC the Great to make his way in, let me make sure you can hear me. Testing one, testing twice.
I can hear you. You're
All
low, but I can hear you. I've been hearing.
right, I'm gonna try to see if I can, you know, direct some of the sound better here.
But
Um,
like I said, that might be an issue on my end, so
yeah,
don't
because
worry
I've got
about it.
everything like literally maxed out when it comes to the volume.
Yeah, no worries, bro. No worries. I can hear you though.
Beautiful queen. I'd say beautiful princess because the queen is still around, and you only have another queen until the first queen has left the scene. You understand? So the descendant of a queen is a princess, while the queen is still alive. I'm just, that's just the method of madness. Let me tell you guys something real quick before we get to the conversation. Um, we had an outing at the. You ever heard? I don't know if you heard of Cedar Point, but Cedar Point is one of these entertainment parks in Ohio. It's like a major entertainment park, but or what do you call it, amusement park. And while there, um, I noticed that 99% of the people, uh, including ourselves, did not have any mask. And I thought about that, in light of all the rhetoric, that's going on with the that right going around. I'm saying that because I don't feel like them tagging some link under my video right now. Um, but I was just thinking to myself like, well, wow, all this time. They don't. They're out here on the news and everything else, going hard at trying to get us poked. You understand, with that venom. And I'm looking at all these hundreds by the hundreds. Amusement parks are just smashed with people. Thousands of people going through the gate every second. You understand? And I thought about it. I said, I wonder if the big bucks that these amusement parks make have anything to do with the fact that they're not too concerned whether or not this gathering of people um, could be contagious or could be some type of medical threat or something like that. I'm thinking to myself like, this is an interesting matter. People going about their life, going about their way, going to this ride, going to that ride. You know. Anyway, I just something that I wanted to share. Um, Peace and blessings, brother Remy. How's the brother doing?
Doing okay, my bro. Doing okay, all things considered. I'm doing extremely well as compared to many, many others.
Now, I heard some. Let's see here. I heard some what I would assume is good news coming from you. You had a post that was basically you were responding to someone, basically saying that, hey, there's some works in development. Can you break that down? What I'm talking about? I'm referring to the the donation efforts.
Yeah. So first off, I'll say we do need people to continue to uh, donate on the behalf of our brother. Obviously, with
Okay.
the change from the death of the officer, we're looking at a lot more money. But we are making progress. We are making progress in terms of getting a group of attorneys for our brother, and we're ironing out some things. I can't go into the details of those things at this juncture, but I've said to people that we're confident that we will have attorney for him before October 29th. And so I'm asking folks to be patient on that and just know that that's the most important thing, that we can get someone in there by that date, by that court date. So we're working on that. We're working on it diligently. It involves more than one person, and so it takes a little bit of time to work things out. But we are progressing, and we do intend on updating people relatively soon.
Okay, that's good news. Definitely good news. One second here. Hmm. Hmm. Not sure why that's happening, but let me do something for you, OC. Let's see here. Let's just do this. I'm gonna copy and paste this link, and once you log in, it should just lead you directly. Let me do this. Boom. There's the link, just like that. And if you check your email. Okay, so what I just sent you, OC, is a direct link to that particular page. Where once you log in, you shouldn't even have to click any buttons. It should just take you directly there. I'm not sure why it left you to a blank page, but um, uh, I got. Are you using an iPhone, OC? Are you using an iPhone? Because I know sometimes people with iPhones have given the most as far as complaints.
Oh, they're the worst, the people with the
Yeah,
iPhones.
because there's always something, because I was going to get an Apple app, but they gave me a hard time because they want all of your payment mechanisms, they want all your advertisements, everything they wanted to go through their set system. Even if you've got an Android app, they want like a special thing just for them. And they get offended by things that have to do with black people. They were looking
Well,
at, well, you need to have some type of checks and balances. You need to have some type of a better censorship program. Like, censorship for what? The people that are on the site, this is what we want. I mean, we
right,
will be the author. No, nobody. They say, well, what if somebody wants to, what do they say? You know, press a claim, against someone's post or something like that. I said, well, they could do that. There's a protocol for that. If they want to report or something. But the things you're asking to be reported on aren't something nobody on the site wants to report. you know, I mean,
right,
go to Facebook
right.
or something for all that. But so I said I'm gonna go ahead and pass that one down. So we just have an Android app.
I understand.
So
Well, you have to stand your ground, so to speak.
yeah, yeah, because they basically want you to they want you to be softened, and I don't. It's like, but
Yeah.
what these are big companies that have tied themselves. Oh, there we are. Let's see here.
Peace to the guys. Can you hear me?
All right, peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. OC the
Yeah,
Great
yeah,
is here, family.
yeah.
Peace to the
Let's
God.
welcome the brother in. Good to
Peace to the
have you
guys.
on board. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I'm out here with family. I had to apologize, had a few difficulties and everything.
nah, that's family
And
first. You
just
got
a
to do what
last
you got to
minute
do.
time with the family as well. I didn't even get a chance to go home yet. I came straight from the workplace,
All
straight from
right.
the meeting. You know what I mean? And how right to the family. I'm out here, but we here. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Remy?
Yes, indeed.
So look,
Peace, God.
Let's do this.
peace to the God. Yeah, that's what
All
it
right.
is.
That should be better. All right. So, um, let me do this so they can see everybody better. So, what are you smiling about? You see that? She just busted out with a smile.
Why you?
All right. Um, so welcome. Um, let's see. I want to start off like this. So Remy was breaking down the good news, the progress that's been going on regarding, the development of a team, the pursuit of developing a team to help with the legal aspects of brother Otha Wallace Ozone. Um, and I've already been breaking down to the family, as the things that we just want to stay focused on the goal, focused on the objective. And I think that if people are conscious enough, and my hope is that the people who come and view Soul Journey of Life um, are a conscious body of people who know how to, avoid the riff-raff, who know how to, you understand, just stay focused and stay on code enough to be able to keep on supporting ones like Brother Ozone. Um, so here we are. This is a conversation intended to build up and keep us, on our square. I want to say this as I've been thinking about things that have been going on throughout the week. I said the longer our brother has to wait, and here's something that I just feel like is not being reflected upon enough by the people. You understand? The longer our brother has to wait for the support of the community, the longer his family suffers. We must keep in mind that Ozone is a husband and a father, which means that prior to the altercation, with the alleged altercation with the officer, He played a vital role to his immediate family, his wife and his children. With him behind bars, each day one can only imagine must be one more day of suffering in some way or another for his family. That's one day those babies are not seeing and being affected, with the influence and inspiration of their father. There's one day where his wife is not able to receive from him and give to him the type of connection that comes between a husband and a wife. This fact, it seems, I do not hear it being talked about enough to affect the minds of us who say we are stepping up in support of a brother. Where this conversation should be had, instead of it's being occupied with bickering, backstabbing, and slandering, and people who say they are about the right thing, but are doing nothing more than being counterproductive to the overall objective. How can we return the focus back to A, the honored character of Ozone, and bringing that to the forefront, B, the continued support of his aid and his legal aid, and C, the consideration of his family's dilemma? Either of you can respond to that if you would.
Well, I would say that. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say that we have to. We who are behind the scenes, who are speaking with attorneys and holding funds, we have to keep the circle tight in terms of who we're speaking to with information. And outside of that small circle, in what we're calling the conscious community, we have to also understand that by community, it really is, the wild, wild west of YouTube, and anyone is able to come on these social media platforms and
Right.
say whatever they might choose to say.
Right.
We have to be aware and use some discernment. We have to, people don't know me, right? Most people that are donating have never met me in person. They've never they've never seen me prior to, my speaking about the situation with my brother Otto Wallace.
Right.
But what I would ask people to do is, use discernment and common sense. Use common sense. I understand that you hear someone say something and you hear me say something else. What I'm asking you to do, if you don't know that party who is speaking on the left and you don't know myself who might be speaking on the right, use your common sense. Look at who you're speaking to. First, listen to what they are saying in terms of where they know Otto Wallace from and on what authority do they speak about the situation of ozone. I am telling people that I am speaking as someone who is like a brother to him. And if you ask him, he will tell you this, he will confirm that I am like a brother to him. I'm a friend and confidant.
Hmm.
Uh, I would ask you to question those who may be contrary, probe them and see, what is their motivations and where they know him from and why they're so adamant in speaking about situations that they do not know about personally. And I think if people use more common sense and are able to discern as to what sources they're going to listen to, I think we'd be better off for it. I just think people are not exercising basic common sense and good judgment as to who they're listening to.
Right.
Forget about personalities, but question as to, well, what on what authority am I speaking? What do I know, or who am I in direct contact with when I'm making certain statements? Am I, for example, in direct contact with attorneys? Am I in direct contact with Otto Wallace, aka Ozone himself?
Right.
If I am in contact with those two entities, then I have authority to speak on those things. If I am not in contact with the attorneys or the brother himself, I would suggest to you that I'm not in authority to speak on these things. I am now dealing with conjecture and speculation.
Speaking of brother Ozone, can you give us an update on how the brother himself is doing?
I spoke to him about an hour and a half ago tonight, and I can tell you that he's dismayed at some of the things, the reports that have been getting back to him in terms of what is going on social media.
Right.
He is dismayed that people are going to a particular family member and telling her lies. He is dismayed at the level of sabotage that he's hearing about. Um, he's doing his best, of course, but some days he's downright depressed
Yes,
about
I can
what
imagine.
is being told to him. I personally try not to report too much of that garbage to him, but understand that other people speak to him and they might divulge the circus that is going on online with his name. And I'm telling you, I can tell you for a fact that he's not happy about that. And it causes him stress, extra stress. If you can just imagine for a moment that it was you who is facing lethal injection, the death penalty, and then to have a bunch of people sending you and messages and telling you a bunch of nonsense, bickering about whose personality that they don't like, going on and speaking about things that you've asked them not to speak about, and still persisting. Imagine how you would feel for a moment.
Right.
You're facing an uphill fight against a system that has all the weapons of war at their disposal. And then you have to listen to your own people, the people that are supposed to be supporting you, literally fighting against each other and speaking about things that they don't. Ask yourself, all of you who might come in the chat, all of you who are, making these comments and making these accusations towards my person, ask yourself, what if you're wrong? And how would you feel if you were in Ozone's place and you had to sit and try to decipher all the garbage that's being thrown at him?
Right.
Ask yourself that if you really care about that person.
Um, brother OC, let me direct this question to you. Um, can you are you able to hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. All right. Can you break down the importance of taking care of with how we communicate with one another and deal with communication and deal with communicating vital information?
I mean, to me, when it comes to communicating the vital information, we have to get it from a good source first. You know what I mean? Um, and just like Remy was saying, the source it's gotta come from the people that actually have the power of attorney. And this was when it comes to ozone, have this power of attorney, and then the people that's actually speaking to him directly. You know, so when it comes to everything else, and hold on, hold on for 1 second.
Sure. Are you ready for bed?
Yeah, so when it comes to everything else, when getting the important information from
Hold on a second.
everybody else it shouldn't even go on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. OC, give me one
Okay,
minute. I gotta
no
send
problem.
someone to bed, and then I'll be right back. I got my daughter here with
It's
me.
all good, bro.
Just give me 1 second. Family, those watching, I'm going to take one quick break to get this person to bed, and it won't take me that long at all, I promise. I'll be right back.
grilling up a little dinner over by the beach. That's the
Okay.
beauty about being in South Florida, that you can go to the beach and use the facilities and just put some food on the fire and stuff like that. So it's been a bit of a long day for me, but I'm glad that it's winding down. And you know
Yeah.
like I told the brother Dawood, I'm doing great considering, as opposed to many other people, all things being relative. I mean, we live in a good life compared to, like, for example, the
Right.
people at the border in Texas right now, the Haitian
Oh yeah,
brothers
yeah.
and sisters. So,
Oh man, heard about that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Man.
I got some questions about that too in just a second, but one second here. I didn't want to do that. Hold on. Boom. Let's do this. I just want to do this. That way,
Hold on, y'all.
all I have to do is that. All right. Then I think I could. I think I could do that. Right. Hmm. Uh, I see how that works. All right. Just experimenting here with these camera angles and stuff. All right. Anyway, family. Um, someone says your daughter is a strong one. Guess. Yes, indeed. Peace and blessings. Shalom. Um, yeah. See, I believe that everything you do becomes a lesson for your children. You understand? So it makes sense to me to try to do things that could help uh, develop her, her experiences in life. So here, hearing her father talk, doing these lives, I'm on all this computer stuff, and I think it's something that will perhaps stay in her mind and germinate into something more constructive in time as she gets older. Because these are all experiences. These are all experiences, you know. Because she hears me yap all day long, this about this and that. I'm a long-winded person, so you can just imagine what, what we're gonna have to go through here and her father talk all day long. But anyway, let's get back to what we're doing. And I gotta bring that back up. All right. So let me continue on with another one for brother OC. Um, simple question, if you're there, if you can hear me. The question is, what makes people so gullible? I mean, literally, all one has to do is say or say is, oh, so and so, he picked his nose and ate it, and boom, and just like that, it's canon. It's established fact, just like that. So, what makes people so easily um, persuaded to opposing views? If you're standing up, you're making the right moves. You understand, for a cause, and all it takes is just someone to say anything. It almost seems random sometimes, um, and instantly, just like that, you have they have a following. They have an entourage. What makes people so gullible?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's gullible. I think some of it have to do with being gullible, but outside of that, it's just the people being attached to, they are attracted to, messiness. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, I mean, we could sit up here and tell the truth all day about things. You know what I'm saying? But once something messy come in the picture, people are going to gravitate towards that for whatever reason.
Hmm.
So I think that it has something to do with the society that we live in. Everything that we, you know, one way or another attract ourselves into, matter with these TV shows or the music. Everything seems to be like a mess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even in the news, they rarely show positive things in the news. You know what I'm saying? There's always something negative, you know?
That
So,
that 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 brings me to a point real quick. I was talking earlier
yeah,
about the brothers and sisters, the Haitian brothers and sisters over there in Texas. And like you said, there's a lot of media, a lot of news, a lot of that involved. And when we think about the stuff they like for us to see, you understand the types of sitcoms, the types of the different forms of programming that they like us to see. And then, as I mentioned, they're showing the brothers and sisters getting lashed. You understand? By horseback quote unquote slave drivers, right? And I just all the while I was watching this, I just thought about the camera people that were capturing this moment, so that it could be quickly, broadcast across all mainstream media platforms. And I thought to myself, they want us to see this. They want us to take something from this. What do you think about that?
yeah,
Did you?
as far as that,
OC.
Yeah.
yeah, as far as that, that news, I'll be honest, I don't know too much about what's going on in that part of the world. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying in Texas or with Haiti. I heard a little bit about it, but maybe Remy know a little more than I know when it comes to that.
Care to put something on Remy?
Well, I don't know that I don't know that it's necessarily always what they want us to see. I think sometimes things are exposed.
Hmm.
I don't think that's necessarily the image that they wanted, but I think that's what came out, and now they're going to do what they do typically and play cleanup.
Hmm.
My issue is greater than as it pertains to the Haitians. What really bothers me is not necessarily what's happening at the border, because they are going to do what they do, and we always come to this point, when we're talking about what the power structure is and how it relates to us. Other groups are going to do what they do. Those who are have the media is going to use it however they want to use it.
Hmm.
My problem is with the Haitians themselves and how what they're doing in their country. And what can they do to mitigate some of this stuff? Like, how can they get together to better themselves, to protect themselves? And a lot of that, it seems to me that they've been having a lot of trouble, for example, dealing with the level of corruption. So why do the Haitians have to come across the border to begin with?
Hmm.
Why are Haitians living in parts of South America where they're unwelcome? In Brazil and other countries where they're unwanted. They try to stay in Mexico, they don't want them in Mexico either. Why
Mm.
do the Haitians have to go there? That's to me, that's the more important question. Why do the Haitians have to flee their own country?
Right.
Because if we can't deal with that, then to me everything else is a moot point. Because, well, if there's so much turmoil in Haiti and they have to flee their country, well, more people are going to flee as the climate changes, as another disaster might happen, hurricanes, earthquakes, and so on. If they can't stabilize themselves, then the whole country and the people are doomed. So we see that there's a lot going on there, and there's a lot of speculation as to why things are going on. But, to your question, without being too long winded, to your question, I don't think they necessarily wanted those optics. I think that sometimes it just comes out because we have to keep in mind that there are a lot of different medias out here in America. Even though we have the big conglomerates,
Yeah,
there's still some relatively small outlets like Democracy Now. There's some independent journalists. So I think they just kind of got caught. I don't think that the horse and whip thing or reins thing is what they wanted to be shown, but I think they got caught and it's out there now, and people are going to react to it. But after people react to it, then what? Even if they say, okay, let these Haitians in, what about the other Haitians that are coming? What about the other disasters that are happening in Haiti? What about the whole situation with the assassination of the president? Allegations that the United States was involved in that. All these other things are the bigger issues than them being at the border. To me, is why are they at the border in the first place?
right. Good point. Definitely a good point. Um, I was talking earlier today on IG um, about the importance of revolutionizing ourselves, and the idea that I believe that our greatest revolution is going to take place amongst the ranks of our own before it's ever able to um, confront anyone else. And the reason why I'm saying that because if you look even with just these past several months, let alone the past year, at how we've been handling. See, I like to observe sometimes. If you look at how we've been handling every challenge that we've faced just this year alone, you understand? When ones amongst us would stand up, to try to make a difference. How did we respond to that? When ones of us, you know, found themselves into some type of dilemma, arrested, whatever. How did we respond to that? When we tried to step up to support our own, and how did we respond to the efforts of that? And if you look at each case, it's a very serious pattern going on. You understand? It's almost like in each scenario, we divide up into two parties. You understand? Those who are for or in favor of, and those who, or for whatever the reason or another, are haters of those who are in favor of. That's what I'm seeing. I mean, I could maybe there's something I'm not noticing, but I see the lines of division seem to replicate themselves. I mean, it's just a matter of time. But I could just imagine someone on the opposite side of this talk hating what I'm saying right now. It just so happens, I'm just this small brother, but I'm thinking about when the black militia stood up immediately. You know, the most adamant opponents weren't from other people or other nationalities. The most adamant opponents, the most you know abhorrent ones, were from our own people. The same thing we find here happening now. I mean, and it's a domino effect because here then they say, well, okay, we're going to hate on Brother Remy, and since Brother Remy was representing on OC's platform, what do they want to do? They want to trickle it over to him too. I'm like, well, what's next? So, and it's always the same type of atmosphere, the same type of essential ingredients. When you look at the live chats, you see the same type of dialogue taking place. You understand? The same characteristics are going on. Um, so I'm wondering how to bring about a focus on revolutionizing ourselves. You understand? Um, because if we can't revolutionize ourselves, we're in big trouble. The pattern that we're doing right now, the pattern that the people are showing, we're in big trouble when it comes to um, you know being able to protect ourselves, being able to stand up for ourselves in a way that uh, means something, that's meaningful. You understand? Um, am I making sense with what I'm saying right now? And that's for either of you.
Are you good? I know. Me personally, I don't really care about the hate. The only thing that kind of bothers me is the fact that it, they're hurting ozone. At the end of the
Right.
day, you know what I'm saying. So anytime that someone put up some confusion about individuals when you know it's all due to speculations or whatever conspiracy that they have, amongst the actual. Hold on, dang,
I can hear you.
my Bluetooth that fell out. Hello,
Yes.
can you hear me?
Yep.
Dang, hold on. Can y'all hear me?
Yep. I can hear you.
I can't hear nothing.
You probably muted yourself, but you
Yeah.
couldn't be able.
Check your mute.
But then he wouldn't be able to hear. He said he can't hear us.
Hmm.
Well,
Basically,
while
go
yeah,
ahead.
I was gonna say while OC is sorting that out, I would say one of our issues is that we're on platforms that they try to regulate it to some degree, but it's a free for all in that anybody can show up into any chat room, for example, and say whatever. But so I think soul journey of life, for example, creating this platform is a part of the solution. I think that we don't have enough we haven't created enough groups and platforms where we're kind of curating who is coming in. We're attracting a certain type. Black intelligence. Shout out to Black Intelligence Alliance that's created by my sister Blaze. That's a nonprofit organization. The name should say it all, right? Black Intelligence Alliance.
Black
We
intelligence.
literally need to separate ourselves from the bulk of what is considered to be black people. And I mean especially, and I mean this with all sincerity, especially those who are considering themselves to be quote unquote conscious.
Mm.
We need to, so to speak, separate the wheat from the chaff, right? We have to in our zeal to unify, quote unquote, we make a mistake, in my opinion, where we kind of have these systems where everybody comes in and kind of just throw their screwball ideas and just open their holes and just, let out whatever. One thing that I've noticed, you know, with these various personalities, they build their little echo chambers
Mm.
and they put moderators in their chat rooms. They're on YouTube and so on, but they're attempting to censor and filter the type of interactions that are going on,
Mm.
unless they're just there to do some Jerry Springer stuff.
Right.
And the point to that is we have to begin to do the same thing where we are creating our own system on our own environment that is more exclusive. It's more prejudice. It's going to filter in a certain type of mindset
Yeah.
because if we were doing that and literally building, a bunch of people that were on the same page, I think we wouldn't have the degree of nonsense that we're dealing with when it's just out there open in the open source of whatever anybody can come in type. So I think soul journey of life like this platform is a part of the solution as to where you go to find your tribe, so to speak, because you can't unite all black people.
Right.
That's futility. We have to stop that naive notion. And even those who say that they're conscious and pro-black and all these things, you can't unite with all of them either. You have to get that straight also. I can say a bunch of stuff and just be talking stuff.
Right.
So you have to literally find, your group. And it can be a group of 1 million people, but you want to make sure that that million, which is a small number, you want to make sure that that million is on the same page and that they're authentic and that you're not being fooled by random people just coming in and pretending.
It was funny that you mentioned that because here's a random person that shows up on this live now with a random conversation that literally has nothing to do with the price of tea in China, right?
Hmm.
So let me go ahead and do this because I like to keep things clean. Person is aware, but this is Soul Journey of Life, conscious social media. In other words, we entertain conscious and professional talk. We have an agreement here to have a mutual respect for one another, and we don't have any interest in the degrading and things like that. So let me go ahead and get this person up out of here. There we go.
Yep. That's a part of the
Yeah,
solution right there.
because this is wasted time and space. All right,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm talking about. It's and it seems to me that some of these platforms feed on that type of energy right there. They feel like they're getting uh, acknowledgement and that they're doing the right thing. And let's say, like I was saying, for the benefit of the argument that some people mean well, that they're trying to get to the bottom of issues going on in the community. You know, there's something about wisdom, the wisdom in approaching things in a way that doesn't that's not detrimental to the overall cause of things. For example, like the brother mentioned, when you know you've got this brother who's facing murder charges, right? Facing murder charges, and you know that they're using all kinds of whatever they can scrap up from social media, whatever, in a way that they can use it against the brother. It only makes sense to, and not only that, you know that when we're striving adamantly to accrue funds. You understand, to support the legal needs of the brother. And so, if a person knew that their their comments or that their talks were hindering, not aiding the effort, but hindering the effort, you understand? You would think that they would be wise enough to refrain. You understand that they just wouldn't do it because I mean, even on a positive, like let's say, I was saying something positive. You understand? Saying something, that I thought was good words. But if I learned that it was hindering, that let's say somebody's
Right.
building a house, and that what I had to say was slowing the process down, and instead of more people supporting the construction of the house, it decreases not only the house that I'm trying to build, but anybody's house. You understand? Am I making sense?
Right.
And that's what they're doing.
Absolutely.
It's not in any way building progress. Even if they were the champions of or trying to be the champions of the gathering of the funds, it's not. You don't see anybody rushing that way either. You understand? It's just this, and if anything, it brings about disparity in people's hearts and minds to where people don't even want to do anything at all. And the very
Right.
people who would have been supportive and who would have been motivated to help in some way, they don't because they just don't want to be a part of. People don't like people that mean well don't like drama. You
Right.
understand? If there's
Exactly.
fire, you get away from the fire and go to where it's cool. So it's not helpful. It just so happens to be that there are those of us, um, ideally, that are able to look through all that smoke and focus on what we're trying to do. You understand? Like I said, there's a brother facing murder. There's a father and a husband who's not able to be with his family when just some day before he was hugging his children and hugging his wife. You understand? And life was going on business as usual when suddenly, you understand, and now here we are. You understand? And not just any brother, but a noble brother. A brother known to be courageous, known to, to be strong. You understand? On multiple levels. And so, I could just imagine, the news of something like this reaching him and how that could affect a person. It's like I was saying, about other individuals who have been standing up. And then to imagine hearing the word that, hey, there's drama surrounding your situation within the community, and they're bickering and feuding like little children. I mean, and you're thinking to myself, this is what I got up in here for. This is why I'm here for that. So I'm just saying, like you're right. You're definitely right. Everybody's not going to be a part of the team, but there's features that I'm noticing are making uh that distinct. You understand? The who's who. And I don't have to. It's not like I have to say, well, I'm part of the good guys, or I'm on the winning team, or nothing like that. It the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. It manifests. The truth manifests itself. I gave a similitude earlier about there's a story about a person named Noah. He has an ark, and I said, that in that story, whether it's true or not, I'm not. That's not my debate. But there's a similitude out of that I grasp, and the people who were opposing him kept on expressing that they find their security, elsewhere. They'd find a high mountain or someplace to go to. And he was basically telling them, like, it's just not going to happen like that. The stuff that's about to go down, that mountain's not going to even help you. The only thing that's going to help you is what I've been taught to construct over here. So come and help me construct this so we can all get, saved and helped. But what is happening here is people succumb to their arrogance. You understand? And how do you know it's arrogance? One, you can't tell an arrogant person he's arrogant. Two, you can't give them advice. You can't instruct them. You know what I'm saying? Even if it was something, I always tell people, if somebody tells you something about yourself that's not true, then take it constructively. You can use that. You understand? Okay, I don't know if that fits me or not, but that's a good idea. Let me keep that in mind. If it's true, then it gives you the tools of how to, reform yourself, how to fix yourself up. Like, oh, I needed to know that, brother. I'm glad you noticed that in me. You understand? But you can't tell these people that. And they cannot see the error in their divisive ways. You could tell them, like, look, brother, what you are doing is counterproductive to the overall cause. You understand? But they're not able to see any of that, and instead they continue to pursue, and if anything, they get more hostile. You understand? Right. They get more flamboyant with their words and their rhetoric. You understand? It doesn't calm the waters down. Even if you tried to mend fences, like, okay, well, look, here's an option. That if we do it, maybe everybody would be. They don't want to hear any of that. You understand? It's all, attack mode from there on out. So right. I see OC back. Welcome again. I'm just, I was sort of in a little frustration, and maybe part of it came as a result of, the presence of a troll, a known troll on another person's platform, and I just thought about that. I just thought about, how certain energy invites certain characters. And that's why I said, look, we don't have that energy here. I don't know what kind of conversation the person was thinking he would hear, but that's not that's not this. You understand? Like I said earlier, I know some people are attracted to drama. You know what I'm saying? Just like flies are attracted to, you know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but this isn't what's happening here. So they got. I mean, break bread, brother. What do you have to say?
Yeah, bro. Uh, you know, I'll just reiterate essentially that it we've been infiltrated. You know,
Yeah.
we've been taken over by a certain type. Um, I'd mentioned in a live that I did on Instagram the other day. I said that I was talking about doing. I was on OC's channel, and I was, I think it was a video. I forgot what video, what stream I was doing, but I said put a one in the chat if you're a part of the Black conscious community,
Hmm.
and all these ones came in. But I knew everybody that dropped a one was not necessarily a part of the quote unquote Black conscious community,
Yes.
because as dysfunctional as we are in that community, there's a certain other element that's not a part of that at all that is now coming in and just wreaking havoc. There are people out here that are only here to stir up drama and nonsense, right?
Yeah.
And so I will reiterate that the only way to sort these things out is to separate ourselves and to set up a filtration system that filters these people out. For example, even with myself and addressing people, I could really go at a lot of people with a whole bunch of stuff. But as you see, I've not done a whole bunch of videos. I've not done a whole hours of live stream.
Hmm.
I say what I have to say. I addressed a couple of people and I went on with my life, because I do understand that sometimes you have to speak what is on your mind. You need to be direct about it. But to go into a quote unquote internet beef and all these things, this is what these people want.
Right.
So if you were somebody who actually cared about the person who they profess to care about, they would be seeking, to approach the people that they disagree with. They would approach them in a different manner.
Right.
Like for example, myself, I've answered tons of questions. Not only have I answered questions publicly, but I've answered questions in DMs and emails. Yeah, people send me DMs, emails, and even text messages asking me about stuff to do with the two things that I deal with, which are the funds and the lawyers.
Yes.
I do speak with the lawyers directly. I was in talks with the lawyers, and obviously I am holding the funds.
Yes.
And I've taken those questions and I've not taken offense. You see, even somebody asked me today, they said, well, block this person because they're doing this and that. They're asking this question and so on. But, I chose a different approach. I chose to answer a question that I had already answered. In fact, not only had I answered the question previously, but I think I had answered the question and it was asked by that same person.
Mm.
But the fact that I am publicly asking people for money to help my brother, I have to take on a greater degree of humility.
Right.
And so because I care about my brother and I don't want to turn people off and give people any reason to not donate to him, I approach it with a high degree of humility versus someone else who could really care less. They're doing things to, self-serving things. They're in it, for themselves. They're in it to get views. They're in it to what they call what clout chase,
Right.
to add up their hours of streaming and all that. they're doing it for all these things, right? They're doing it because they were offended. That's another thing.
Right.
They're literally attacking the fundraising efforts. They're
L-
attacking the brother who's facing the death penalty because they were offended by what I said or how I said something or the fact that I didn't respond to them.
Speaking of that
I've been
fundraising,
offended by people, but I do not take it to the degree that these people take it. And I
right.
think that's a big deal. And that will also show you who is sincere or not, the degree that they're able to be more considerate in what they're saying.
Speaking of the fundraising, I have a suggestion because while I believe it's an honorable move to show the balance, I do have some concerns about you know that being publicized in that way. Not that it shouldn't be publicized, or should or shouldn't be, but um, let's see. My suggestion is like this: rather than post the public updates on the balance, why not, for example, all those who would request it, like donors, all the donors who are involved, would you if they uh, recommended or wanted, sending them an email of the updates. You understand, to specifically the donors themselves, because those would be the people who, if they wanted to be updated, would have that right, and not any old John Jacob Jingleheimer or Smith on social media, who could in turn manipulate that, use that in the mainstream media somehow for some you know, gimmick. You understand, against you or against brother Ozone. You understand? It could pose problems for your own self. Not, I mean, we've already been dealing with problems, but it could pose unforeseen problems. At from the people at large. So I would say if you did like an email update to all the people who would request it, um, this way, like I said, it will keep the business. It keeps business that should not be publicized in this way proper and professional. I would also suggest, and this is something that you could do also, is since you have an account with Soul Journey of Life, why not create a group regarding those people who are supporting Ozone, and then in that group you could post updates. You understand? Because you could create the group and make it quote unquote private, so that only the people who are of that group, who are ideally uh, donors, would see the updates that way. These are just ideas.
Yeah.
Um, Here to to help people focus on the agenda, not the not fearing the doom and gloom speakers in the community, um who, like I said, they would shout at you if you scratched your butt the wrong way. um and there's a lot of doom and gloom going on lately, you know
Right.
so I just think it makes sense to that I mean, because we're not exempt from any kind of drama. You understand? We're not exempt from any type of trial, or there's a word that I say is fitna. I don't know if you heard the word fitna. Fitna means just like
Yeah.
drama,
Yeah.
just beef, just grief, you know. Um, so that's just a suggestion that I thought about. Um, I don't know, because I'm like I said, I understand the nature of the move. You understand? You know, After a while, so much pressure that comes from all different sizes, and when you know that, hey, the move is noble, the intentions are noble, what you're striving for is noble, so you're trying to get people to look, man, this is what's really happening. Here's the proof. Here's what you asked for, right in your face. But the thing is, like I said, this stuff. I mean, people from here to China are watching it. You understand? And you just don't know who's observing and what mindset they have um, behind, when they see this. You understand what I'm saying? And this isn't, like I said, this isn't meant to make any of you or anyone else afraid. Is to
No,
make
no, I
us,
understand.
to be mindful, of the possible dangers, the possible uh, antics that any opponent, would be opponent, could present.
Yeah.
OC, are you hearing what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm with you, bro.
Because I heard you were having some trouble with the sound. What do you think about what I'm saying? Is it making any sense?
No, it makes sense. My thing is, it's all about, like, for the people. It's all about hopping on code, because I feel like some of the exact same things could happen. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? As far as someone getting the email and then sharing it to other people, and then
Hmm.
then that's the whole, that's it's the same thing. The whole conversation, people making full broadcasts about it, and so anytime it has anything to do with money, and when it comes to a lot of our people, then chaos for whatever reason. So to me, it's just about hopping on code, because I seen other people do it, other races or other,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yes.
other
Exactly.
groups do it. You know what I mean? So, like,
Okay.
it could all be so simple. You know what I mean? But I guess we just chose to do it the hard way.
This brings me to another point, and this is a more of a historical perspective. You know, I said that it seems there's a fundamental unifying ingredient that, when I observe what's happening today, seems to be either avoided or not fully talked about or observed. And I pushed forward in this direction when I was talking about the light dome and things like that. Think tank and things like that. But what I was driving at was a bit more than just some generic idea of think tank. And again, there's a lot that can be conversated about that, but I'm going to talk historically. Order, okay, order. If you look historically, every nation that has ever risen was built up or with the aid of an established order. Now, unfortunately, today, with there being so much individualism prevalent, you understand, and being more popular, I could understand how unifying based upon the concept of order would be such a difficult, thing to do. And we've seen this in many ways. You understand? But what is it in our time, that makes form nation so complicated? Can anybody answer that? If that question makes any sense.
Hmm.
I'm gonna say it again. What is it in our time that makes form nation so complicated?
Form nation.
Hmm. I'm
Right.
just it's you just have to say it
Yeah.
fast. Say it faster.
Yeah.
Formation.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. well, well, is I mean, I think it's back to what I said earlier. You have a free for all situation. You have a big cafeteria where you have people inside the cafeteria whom you think are on the same page as you. They
Hmm.
purport to be about the same things as you are, but there's no we're not filtering, we're not vetting the people. Even here online, it can be done.
Yeah.
We can literally, weed out certain elements. I'll tell you, for example, like, two of the biggest quote unquote grassroots black media people are, this guy Jason Black and Professor Black Truth, right? And what I notice with them is that, everybody in their chat room, they're in formation. They're
Yeah.
all going according to what's being said. There's really no dissenters, because I remember I went in there and I put the hashtag Otto Wallace, and I left about 2 or 3 lines as to who Ozone was, and I was immediately put in timeout. I was on Jason's Black live
Yeah.
stream.
Yeah.
I only made one comment, and I was immediately put on timeout. And also, as I mentioned before, in a previous video I made, him and Professor Black Truth, they delete my comments about ozone on their in their comment section.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, it's not even relevant why they're doing it. The point is that everyone, because I've listened to these people before, and every caller, everyone, if you don't call up and basically agree with that person, you're going to be belittled and disparaged or whatever,
Yeah.
typically. So, we have to kind of do that. We have to be more exclusive. We have to, you see, like how you saw the troll and you dealt with the troll immediately.
Right.
You know, this is not a stream to deal with trolls.
Right.
I did a live stream to deal with trolls 2 weeks ago, and that's over, you know. And so now we're here to talk about something else, and we have to filter out those people, and that's how you create formation.
Mm.
You filter people out and you get the parts that you want, the people that you want, by a filtration system, by going in and removing people, and also making it exclusive, like Journey of the Life Dome, like
Hmm.
having a platform like this where certain things are just not tolerated at all.
Right.
That's a filtration system. Me setting up, like your suggestion for me to set up a group on this platform where I would have emails, going out to the supporters. That's an idea to be considered. And even if we don't do it for that, for other reasons,
Right.
like we're not building enough. A part of the problem with us also is we're not busy enough,
Mm.
because we're not actually doing anything. We're talking, but we are not bringing the people that we're talking to actually do stuff. Once we start to actually get together with people and do stuff, a lot of that stuff, you will eliminate half of the people.
Right.
Why? Because they don't want to do any work.
Mm.
So once you start to really do work and we get past rhetoric and talk, that's also another filter. Work is a filter, and other means of filtering out, riffraff, by blocking and banning people, and just changing the topics and ignoring people. That's also another way how to create formation.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I had a similar experience where, I was invited to the certain group um, to, participate because apparently someone, they thought that I was in sync with the context that they had going on, and all I said was "Salam alaikum." I said "Salam alaikum," and immediately, like one of the leaders of the group or whatever, shot up and said, "No, brother, there's no religious greetings here." I'm like, well, I didn't speak of it in necessarily a religious sense. I spoke of it in a
Right.
very basic, general sense.
It's
This is how I greet
yeah,
you. You know,
yeah,
um, no different than if I were to tell you Hotep or Shalom or anything else. It's how I greet you. It's my greeting. I don't say
right,
hi. How are you doing? I say Salam alaikum. Um,
yeah,
but order. As I mentioned, order. The key word in that is order. And what you're showing me through both of our experiences was that there was an established um, you know a consensus, if you will, that of people that were in agreement with something, and it's just like when we came with our foreign content, there was like, no, we don't do that here. But that's order. So I mean, I
yeah,
respected it, but I just didn't entertain the group any longer. But my point is similarly, um, that has to be manifested here. I agree. I agree with that point there very well. And personally, I've been endeavoring in this direction for some time now. The struggle being, like you said, finding or being attracting and being attracted towards workers. You understand? People willing to actually um, do something. The problem being is that many of us aren't willing to do too much unless we feel like there's some type of either monetary gain or popular gain, You understand? Some type of fame, some type of being noticed somehow, or ratings, or if it's not, it's like, imagine a person only given to the needy when there's a camera on the scene. Soon as the camera goes away, give that back. They're not even. That's not what they do. You understand? But obviously, the true of the heart would, you would catch them giving if they didn't know a camera was on them. This is what they do, and that's the type of situation that I've personally been striving for quite some time, because there is a cause going on, and it's regarding us as a people. You understand? But it's the type of call that um, is meant to attract those who actually mean this. You understand? Um, this is why we donate to Ozone or Spite or someone. This is why we were interested in the marching of the militias. You understand? This is why we were interested in anything that's been. This is why, even what little, I learned about this event down in Texas. You understand? Because in my heart is, this desire to, echo what I feel my ancestors were striving for. You understand? Um, Knowing that they didn't die, or they lived and died, not because they wanted to just uh, accept the status quo, accept the way things are, but because they wanted, you know, their inheritance. What do I mean by that? They wanted what came from their ancestors, what came from their people, and they died in that condition. They were taken away from that, and here I am, their descendant. So it only makes sense that I would want somehow, you know, to continue on that cause. Um, so I see, like I said, I see, just like anyone else can see, the drama. I can see, the different lives, the different feeds, but knowing how to respond properly to all this, you understand, and knowing how to communicate in a way that's effective and that gets the attention of the people that it needs to get to. This is the challenge, I would say. I know one person told me one time that you know, said basically do what you need to be doing, and let your actions attract the people that are meant, to be, a part of your team. You understand?
Yeah.
Um, and so it takes patience, because it is so frustrating. It's so frustrating to communicate with people, and only to find out that somehow, some way, they're just not on the same page. You know,
Right.
I could remember walking up into this restaurant, promoting. I was promoting the August 21st event, right? And I walked up into the restaurant, and the person took the flyer, and they said, "Well, I've got, white in my family too, right?" This was their way to basically say they're not going to support whatever this was about. And I'm thinking to myself,
Right.
I said, well, that's good. You have, you have white in your family. Okay, well, your family can can help help in some way, right? And
Right.
I said, but as she's talking to me, she's basically explaining, like, I don't get involved with these type of events. I said, well, why not? You understand? Because you have black in your family too, right? You understand? I mean, if
Right.
if your if your white people are concerned about you, then they would encourage you to be also just as equally concerned about your black side of the family. You understand? It
Right.
only makes sense because you've got both in your family. That doesn't mean
Right.
you favor one and ignore the other. You know,
Exactly.
But anyway, um, let me ask you guys this, you brothers, this since we're here, because like I said, I like to try to strive for solutions that lead to active, kinetic progress. You understand? That lead to kinetic progress. And um, think about what I said to you in my suggestion. You understand? Think about how we can use something in this nature as a vehicle. You understand? Um, my effort is to try to utilize whatever skills, whatever talent, whatever I have, um, for a common cause. I don't always intend to be using a platform like this. You understand? YouTube, I'm talking about. And to be honest with you, I would like to have a point where um, this isn't, you know, the way to go. You understand? In fact,
Mm.
I one of the things that I'd like to do, I had a speech on the 21st. I talked that I didn't really get to communicate to um, enough people that I wanted it to be to reach to be communicated to. So what I'm suggesting is I'm going to have a live. You know, inshallah, I'm going to have a live, not here on YouTube, but on Soul Journey of Life alone, and it won't be accessible to just anybody. It'll be people who there's a group in Soul Journey of Life called the Light Dome. You understand? There's a group, and I'll have the live just like we're doing right here. I'll have the
Right.
live there. You understand? And in that live, I'll present some more detailed conversations that that I don't believe that this type of platform is designed for. You understand? YouTube and Facebook and IG. Um,
Exactly.
I just think we need to be more brotherly. You understand? We need to be more intellectually brotherly, and we need to be able to have the right type of conversations. We need to be able to have the right type of uh, you know, birds of a feather flock together mentality,
Right.
and just just break away from the things that connect us to the riffraff. You understand? Um,
Right.
it's so like I said, it's so easy for us to have this live. Someone sees it, from another live, and they see familiar faces that maybe they have a bone to pick, and they don't even know why they have a bone to pick. Like I said earlier, most of the people in this live and other lives, nobody even knows each other. You understand? Nobody even knows each other. Um, and I mean, they talked about your living predicament, and I'm thinking to myself, there's nothing wrong with the living predicament because this is it's not um it's not unique necessarily. It's something that many of us, especially us that deal with like a more naturalistic lifestyle, we take on stuff like this. You understand? And we're dealing with people who, I don't want to call them simple minded, but
That's accurate.
they interpret what they see out of other people's lives on the scope, their limited scope of what they're accustomed to. So anything that's outside of that circle, you understand, they become blinded about. You understand? They become blinded about. They don't know how to explain it. They don't know. To them, certain catch words become a bad taste in their mouth. Oh, they're homeless. Oh, that's a bad. So they got to say something about that, not to understand that there's different meanings of that. Make sense what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So these are things that are just understood by those who know. And that's why those who are able to hear, then respond accordingly to what you understand. You understand? So because we don't have time to be wasting, everything on earth and in the heavens is telling you that there is greater mechanisms taking place in life in our time. And you know it to me it pays to pay attention, to be focused, to be God conscious, to be um, to have the proper knowledge of self, um, to be on point. Because like I said in the IG live, I keep quoting this IG live I had earlier. Is there's too much time being wasted in vain in many of these lives and these chats. Too much time when you got
Yep.
people who will sit for 5 hours, berating another person, degrading another person, or talking, picking confrontations. What is that telling you about our mindset of life, of anything?
Simple.
Yeah. So anyway, brother OC, how are you feeling?
I'm all good, guy.
Yes,
Just
indeed.
listening. Got
Um,
to listen to everything. Everything straight. You know. So I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. We gotta find different ways, different solutions.
yeah,
One thing we can't do is do the same thing over and over again and expecting something different. So we gotta create different avenues and different ways to make things happen, and especially for our brother Ozone.
yeah.
You know. So yeah, that's what it is, man. All
So
right.
family, hopefully the objective is driven in. Again, I'm going to say it. We have a brother who's locked up, facing murder charges, and you know we know that we're dealing with an honorable brother, a respectable brother, a loving father, a loving husband, and you know, depending on the community to help, you understand, just as much as he was active in helping the community. Have to keep driving this in our face. It's not going to run away. It's not going to go away. This is our time. You understand? Our event, our story going on right now in living color as we speak. We have our brother up here, Remy, who has been active in and has been hosting the means for um, which to receive the donations, and it still remains to this day to be so. In the face of all else, my advice is to let us stay focused and to keep on supporting this cause. Avoid the riffraff. Avoid the mess. Because when there's anytime there's mess, there's got to be something wrong. Anytime people have to be vehemently hostile to drive in their point, there's got to be some misinformation there, some misinformation there. There's got to be, because the thing about honesty and truth is it's easy to present. It may be harder. It may be a challenge to hear sometimes. It may be a challenge to take in and digest sometimes. But it doesn't take much to tackle it because it's true. You know, deception takes a bit more craftiness. It takes a bit more time to construct. You understand? And it takes the effort to follow it up. You understand? So
Right.
let us keep our focus on supporting Brother Ozone in this matter. And by the way, last week, if you remember, I had been had a live in which I was encouraging the family. we wanted to create a community letter. One was a community letter for Brother Spite, and the other was a community letter for Brother Ozone. Now, I did get two, literally two supporters for the letter for Spite. So far, I only had one supporter for Ozone, and basically the idea was you could send me an email with the content that you want to be added to the letter. Um, or you could put, something, briefly in the commentary here. I would prefer the email, because that way, if you want the content to be simply your eyes to, all those who are sending, who are involved in the letter, you send it to me in an email. So I'm presenting the opportunity here because I have yet to mail those letters out because I wanted to give another, um, moment should anybody else be interested in adding to the letter. It's supposed to be a community letter so that these brothers, because look, I'm gonna just say it like this, you got to see it from their side of the walls. You understand? From their side of the fence. You understand? Get out of our comfort zone. Get off your easy chair just for a moment to realize that every effort that we take here, it matters. It makes a difference. This isn't something that we could just, hope it goes away. You understand? So, like you said, we got to be more than just talking about it. Donate. Keep on donating. And I would encourage that we participate in creating this, making this community letter successful. Because I just have an uncomfortable feeling with the idea of sending a letter to these brothers with only my content and one other person's content or two other person's content, but a community letter to let these brothers know that look, we're out here, we know you, we see you, and don't despair. You understand? Don't give up hope. Don't give up resolve. Stay firm. Stay steadfast. And uh, a better day's on its way. So I'm going to put my email here in this live feed, and all those who are actually interested in serious in this, in communicating with, sending good word to Brother Ozone, then make sure you respond to this email and with your content of what you want to be added to the letter. I'd like to do this because I'd like to have these letters out before the month is ended. So that's to tell you how much time we have. So do that. In addition, I believe I have the flyer for Ozone's support. So you can see the flyer right there on your screen. It's the one that says, "Don't let them kill Otha Wallace. Help him get a fair trial. Donate to his legal fund today. We stand with Ozone.com." And also there's the Cash App, Ozone Legal. So those are your means, your authentic means of supporting Brother Ozone if you intend to support. Give me a second here and I'll type the email you can use if you wish to add content to this community letter to Ozone. And keep in mind, you want it to be, conscious, positive, nothing, miscellaneous. So you could use this email right here. Make sure I put, okay, everything's there. .com. For me, this is, I mean, what is life if you haven't a cause to stand upon? If you don't even have a desire, to strive for something, bigger than yourself, bigger than your ego. You know, what is life worth? You live and then you leave this life, and what have you done while you were here? What did you do? How did you utilize your energies? You know, that's just something a person has to ask their own self about. I can't answer that question for you. But how did you use your energy? How did you were you a waste of space? You understand? Or were you a part of the mechanism, of life that you know progresses, that propels us, in a forward, higher, elevating direction? Only you can answer that question, family. But there's the email there you see, souljourneyoflife.social at gmail.com. Go ahead and talk to me. Tell me, give me what you want to pass on to our brother to lift up his spirits, to keep his esteem up, because he is a human being. At the end of the day, he is a an entity. He's living, and he does have mind, body, and soul. So that means he can have all the different emotions that any human can take on, and there's no telling what kind of state or how he might feel, and at this given time, with all the weight that is upon the brother's chest. And so every little bit of upliftment, every little bit of motivation, every little bit of inspiration, every little bit of word to the right, can make all the difference to a person. Knowing that while there's all the riffraff, there's still people outside, you understand, who have a positive, an optimistic outlook on these things. And, we're standing, constantly hashtagging free ozone. You understand? That would be very motivational, I would imagine. Um, so with that said, family, I know our brothers, we've you know kept everybody up long enough, and I want to make sure that all those with brother OC the Great, you can find out more details, and stay in tune with the brothers' lives on OC the Great TV. That's the YouTube channel that you can find if you search on YouTube. And also you'll find brother Remy there as well, on occasions. But you'll be able to make sure you tie in to what brother Remy is offered, as the links to support Ozone, so that way you are doing your part. Brother Remy, is there any other information that you'd like to pass along, so that the family knows what they need to know, how to communicate, how to get involved?
Yes, I would say just keep in mind there are only two correct places to donate to our brother Othel Wallace, also known as Ozone. That is we stand with ozone.com, and that is a PayPal system. You don't need a PayPal account to donate. Simply, click the PayPal button, put in your card information, and you will have the option to check out as guests. Check out as guests. Alternatively, you can donate via Cash App. That is Cash App $ Ozone Legal. Um, this is all about helping our brother to have a fair trial, and it is nothing else. It is all the other nonsense surrounding this. The sideshow is really meaningless to me personally. I don't engage with that too much. But yes, unfortunately, I want to say also really quick. I know that I used to update people on Instagram with Justice for Ozone. That page has been shut down. I don't know if that is temporary. It's been almost a month. I'm still not able to use the page. So just in case people were wondering, that that page was not abandoned. It was shut down. So hopefully it will be back up soon. But Justice for Ozone. Alternatively, we have another page on Instagram. Is We Stand with Ozone on Instagram. We Stand with
Mhm.
Ozone. My other page on Instagram is Danger Remy. I'm also on YouTube as Danger Remy. I make updates in terms of the attorneys and the fund, the holding of the funds. Those are the two things that I talk about. So if you want to know about these things, or if you have questions, you can feel free to send me a message, on any of those platforms, and I will get back to you. And yeah, I look forward to also, continuing this conversation with our brother Questman that has built this great platform, Soul Journey of Life. I look forward to having other conversations in the future, maybe a little bit earlier, Questman, because
Yeah.
I'm getting up at 4 in the morning. So,
Yes,
but
indeed.
I do look forward to further conversation, exploring a bunch of things that we need to do.
Yes, indeed. That's definitely peace. And also to you and OC, if you're definitely interested in being able to break bread with me on some of the details of what I've discussed, I've got some very, if you're interested, make sure that we can communicate so we can discuss a date and time and gather the right flock of listeners. But this won't be on YouTube though. It'll be
Understood.
only on the Soul Journey of Life platform. That's it. And we'll benefit off of what can be had there. I have a whole presentation to go through, but talk with me later on at a later time, and we'll build and break bread on how that can be done and uh, what road to take for that. OC the Great, if you're able to hear me, um,
I agree, you know.
anything you want to uh, you know close out with regarding the family here watching this live.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to say all peace to the guys. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to Remy. I'm gonna say, for the best information when it comes to ozone, really the best person to get it from is of course the power of attorney, and then we have Danger Remy. You know, so that's the only two people that I get information from outside of ozone, and and ozone can't really give much, because it's not so much you can really say over their phone, or really, he can't really give his true emotions. You know what I mean? But
Right.
when it comes to Danger Remy, that is the go-to person that's authorized by Ozone. You know what I mean? So that just it is what it is. And like we said earlier, it's not even about us. It's not about OC the Great. It's not about uh, Danger Remy. It's not about Soul Journey of Life. It's not about anybody. It's all about Ozone. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
And that's it. You know what I mean? So we have no, and we shouldn't have to say this. We have no ill intentions, uh, or anything. Our whole intention is to basically bring justice to our brother Ozone,
Yes.
and that's it. I mean, it's just as simple as that. All of the other stuff is out the window for me.
Yes, indeed.
So when we fight, when we fuss, only person that we hurting is Ozone. You know what I mean? So and that's really it. So we got to do better. With our emotions or with our speculations. We got to do better with the conspiracy. We just got to do better as a whole, and just stay focused on bringing our brothers just justice. That's all we should be thinking about is getting justice for Ozone. You
Yes.
know, so that's it.
Staying on code is the order of the day.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, for real.
That's
Yeah.
definite respect and peace. I definitely want to say that I appreciate both of you brothers for coming back on this live. My hope is that we were able to give something that would inspire and encourage people to uh, keep on supporting Ozone and keep on, in their efforts to donate and doing what they can for this cause, and that those that were, in doubt, or those that were, confused about anything. Hopefully, you were able to feel the, the, the positive spirit in the course of the conversation, and that this has restored your, conviction to help Brother Ozone, and remove any doubts. That's the objective here. Is, to, like I said, to have a very, just intelligent conversation. None of the drama, none of the noise, but just, real brothers having a real talk. You know, um, and hopefully that's been accomplished in this live in some way or another. Um, I want to make sure,
Yeah.
that you brothers know, just keep the lines open for communication, and let us, build at another time. Um,
Yeah.
let's see. I'm thinking here. Yeah, I think I got everything out. Uh, for me, I've got thoughts. Uh, for our brothers and sisters wherever we may be, that are suffering, that are, are going through, complicated times. My heart is for them. And, I'd say those listening, if you got your family, make sure you let them know that you appreciate them, that you respect them, that you love them, that you're there for them, and you got their back. And, you know that, that this is real. you know don't give up on yourself, and don't give up on one another. um Peace and blessings, Remy. Peace and blessings, Brother OC. And until next time we communicate, you both take
Yes,
care.
indeed, good brother.
Stay
Peace and
conscious, stay
blessings.
alert,
Yes,
stay
sir.
one.
Likewise.
Hmm.
Likewise.
All right.
Peace to the gods, OC.
Salute,
Peace to
man.
my good brother.
Yeah,
Y'all take care. And remember, these things, even in bad times, it's supposed to serve to bring us together, not to divide us.
Yes,
And we
indeed.
still have a little bit of time to come together with those who are willing.
that's for sure.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and
All
blessings.
right, brother. Yeah.
All right. Peace and blessings. Hmm. There we go. And that, brothers and sisters, that soul journey of life right there. Let's see here. So I believe I've gone over everything, and we're gonna go ahead and wind down here. I'm looking here, just reviewing some notes. Yes, indeed. So, when something matters to you, you understand. When something is real to you, you're going to take it seriously. It's just as simple as that. You're going to take it. Your heart's in it. So it doesn't need, uh, you know, uh, too much convincing. You understand? Real recognize real, like they say. Real recognize real. So, brothers and sisters, I'm going to go ahead and let's do that, and close out. And I have a great respect for all those who attended this live, and the comments are appreciated. All those, all respect to the positive, respectful comments. You understand? All these are all forms of manifesting unity, whether you realize it or not. You understand that I see, common names here, which lets me know that there's common people that show up to participate in these live talks. That's all form of unity. That's all form of unity, family. and there's a great respect for that. There's a great respect for that, and I have nothing but but peace and love to say about that, and a salute to all those involved, all those who have shown their real stripes, their real colors. You understand? Um, so yes, indeed, that's definitely a Black Power moment. Um, as you know, my name is Abdul Wadud, aka Questman, and while you're waiting, or while you're still on your laptops or computers or whatnot, go ahead and make a trip to the Amazon store and look up, the two latest singles, 1 Million Strong and The Epic Black Journey, and go ahead and download those to your phone or to your whatever you're using, your MP3 player or whatever you got your music on. Make sure you add that to your collection. You understand? Because that's definitely helpful to the home team. Um, yeah, this is your brother Abdul Adu, aka Questman. I greet you, salam alaikum, shalom, hotep, peace be with you. Check these out. Okay.